Can you go back and be a little more specific and linger a little longer on the factors that anesthetize or placate men in the face of these enormous frustrations and hurdles? They're not rising up because you said porn, video games?
Porn, video games, and screens, I think, are the three.
Can you explain the role of video games?
Yeah, well, I think, look, video games allow you to have a simulacrum of mastery, conquer, progress, group cohesion, coordination between you and other real people, right? A lot of video games, I would love to know this, but I'm going to guess that solo player offline stuff like Nintendo 64, like Sonic the Hedgehog style games from 20 years ago will be much smaller than online cooperative games where you're playing with other real people across the internet. And I'm going to guess the reason for that is that the sense of camaraderie and group and progress together is one of the most compelling parts of this, because it's simulated warfare, right? Even in games that aren't about war, even if it's, you trying to build a good roller coaster park, if you're doing it with other people collaboratively, that's going to feel much more compelling than if you're doing it on your own, typically. And that's a bbig part of what it is that guys want to do. They want to feel like they're making progress. They want to feel like they're having an impact. They want to feel like...
How sad. Because you're not making any progress. It's all fake. You're not building anything.
Well, if you feel like you can't make an impact in the real world, I want to make an impact somewhere. I have to do something with my time. And this is comfortable and easy to me and compelling and in many ways better designed than the real world. Like, the video game industry is worth more than movies, TV, and music combined. Video game designers understand human psychology better than anybody else.
Oh, I get it. And I'm not judging it at all. I said sad rather than contemptible because I think it is sad because it's the illusion of creation. But would you get more satisfaction from 8 hours of video game playing or, say, rebricking your driveway?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to guess that a good group of guys would say, oh, no, give me, the video games, because that's what I know. Because maybe dad wasn't in the house to be able to show me.
It just siphons off the one thing that men have and that we all need, that the society needs, which is creative energy.
Useful.
Competent. That's exactly right. And that's such a natural thing, such a great thing. It's essential. It's why we have civilization in the first place, because men built it, because they're driven to create stuff. And if all of that energy is siphoned off into something useless.
Well, this is also detected by women too, right? I think that if you are a woman who is a mum and has daughters, or is looking for a partner, or has a partner and wants the partner to be increasingly good for you, you should be as passionate, if not more, about this problem than we are.
Well, of course.
The very fact that men are being sedated out of being more useful is creating precisely the dearth of eligible male partners that you are probably conscious of.
It's driving women insane. I've never seen more crazy women in my life. I think of men as crazy and women as kind of stable and steady, and women in my life are. But you see women hitting each other in public, screaming, endorsing violence. Like, I don't even recognize that behavior. And I think it's so depressing to me. And I think that's all a reaction. That's all frustration over this question. Men and women need each other. There are no men. And because they're, wasting their energies doing pointless things, and it's driving women like bonkers. They seem crazy. Don't they seem a little crazy to you?
I have not, perhaps as you, the women in your life, I'm not around very many crazy women.
I'm never around crazy women. All the women in my life are like completely stable and they help keep the men calm and less crazy. And that's, I think, the way it was designed to work. And it's like the greatest blessing there is. But outside of my life, in our political sphere, like the true extremists are women. And I'm like, wait, what? I wasn't prepared for that at all.
I certainly know that.
Female extremists? Huh?
I certainly know that they're dissatisfied. Given that we have got high rates of sexlessness, displacement among young men in the modern world, why is it that we haven't seen the concurrent kinetic outcomes of this? And it's my belief that men are being sedated out of their status-seeking and reproductive-seeking behavior through video games, screen, and porn. So this is not enough of a dose to make men happy, but it is enough of a dose to stop them from going nuclear, banding together, causing some sort of an uprising. So
Will you call this a hypothesis rather than just an obvious fact?
Look, I mean, I probably should call it a notion. I think for a hypothesis, you actually need to properly do a study for it.
I'm just going to state it as
good. Male sedation.
Irrefutable reality.
Male sedation truth. Yeah, we can call it that. But I think that video games, what is it that it gives men? It gives them a sense of progress, of camaraderie, of goal-seeking behavior. And, for winding down half an hour, a couple of nights a week, perhaps that's a cool thing to do. But when it completely consumes your life because you don't feel like you have agency or progress or you can make changes in the real world, so you supplant your real world pursuits for video game pursuits, we all realize that there is a dose-dependent curve that beyond which you are spending too much time in the virtual world. The same thing goes for screens.
Exactly.
This is the sense of camaraderie and group-seeking behavior that typically you would have gotten by going out and doing something, and shit would have occurred due to that. Again, says the two people that make their living on the internet. But I understand influencers and commentators and stuff aside, most people that are spending their time on screens are not doing it to try and create something. They're more consuming than they are creating.
Yes.
And then when we look at porn, there is this titrated dose of just about enough sexual gratification for men to not go out and do something unspeakable in order to be able to satisfy it. Now, it's not great that we have this balance between useless and dangerous men. And perhaps right now, given the current world that we're in, it's 51-49 preferable to not have dangerous men. But the only reason that I can see for that is that we're in a time of peace. If we were in a time of war and you needed to galvanize young men to actually be useful, you have huge swaths of guys that are just not really prepared to do it. So yeah, I think a great question would be, where are all of the incel killings at? This is not a request, right? This is not me putting a request in with the DJ. But you would expect more. You would expect more uprisings and revolutionary behavior in the real world.
Yes.
If you were to just sort of state the facts of how young guys are doing, and getting into a relationship drops testosterone, having kids drops testosterone, et cetera, et cetera. 50% of men aged 18 to 30 haven't approached a woman in the last year. So like lots of them are not engaging with women in that sort of way, even at the first hurdle. Where is all of this kinetic interaction at? Well, I think the reason that this isn't happening is because they're being sedated out of that kind of behavior.
There's any question. When I was a child, the most sophisticated analysts of Islamic terror, which really kind of began, well, at least in my view, in 1975 with the civil war in Lebanon, there was Islamic terror. And the question was why? And one of the most compelling explanations that I ever heard was polygamy. Because these are societies, Lebanon is not a lot of polygamy in Lebanon, but Saudi, a lot of polygamy. These societies leave a large percentage of young men unmarried with no hope of marriage because the rich guys grab all the women. So you have sexually frustrated, lonely, purposeless drones with surging testosterone, and they take it out in acts of violence that we call terrorism. So that I thought that was seemed right to me. China, very worried about what's with all these excess men. Great Belt and Road to get them out of the country. That hasn't happened in the West. We haven't had revolutionary behavior because of the reasons that you described in, I think was a really smart analysis. And tobacco was a huge part of this too. Nicotine raises testosterone levels. They've been fanatically opposed to not just tobacco, which is delicious, but to nicotine with no health effects. Why would you be against nicotine? Because it raises testosterone levels. My question to you is, to what extent has that pacification campaign been conscious, has been intentional?
That's a good question. Look, I tend to not go beyond the impact of what's happening and try to... I haven't investigated how much of this has been consciously constructed. Right. That's not my area of expertise.
And it may be irrelevant, by the way, whether it was on purpose or not, it's happening. So
yeah, look.
Can I ask you a different question?
Yeah, of course.
If and I'm sorry I even asked it because like, who knows? It's impossible to know. We could only guess. Probably not a good idea. Instead, let me ask if the majority of men under 30 in the United States committed to getting sober, eschewing porn, no more video games, physical fitness, no more carbs.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Which is probably how you live. What would the country look like after a year?
Wow. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Well,
like politically.
Fuck. I mean, I think that there would be a lot of changes.
You think?
But I'm not, it would be really interesting to run that experiment. It would be really, really interesting. And there would be some negative externalities from that. Like if you knock porn on the head fully, you get some really, and this is why this is this point about useless versus dangerous men, right? It's a really interesting balance between the two. Do you want useless or do you want dangerous men? It would look different. It would look incredibly different. And we have we're in a sort of luxurious position at the moment where we don't really need the usefulness of men all that much, not on a ground floor level. And with the advent of AI and robotics, the potential for them to be even more displaced, I think, is going to increase.
You ever feel like the end of the month, all of your money's gone? Where'd it go? Well, one of the places it went is to unnecessary subscriptions. You probably have a lot of them. One night, for example, you decide to watch a movie, so you download a streaming service that carries it, but then you forget to cancel the service. They're banking on that, by the way. The next weekend, you want to watch a different movie, so you download another streaming service that carries that movie, but you forget to cancel that too. And the next thing you know, you're paying hundreds of dollars a month for subscriptions you forgot you had and don't need. One of the many perils of modern life. We have a solution. We're excited to partner with Rocket Money. It's a great company that can help you fix all of this. It's a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending in a non-judgmental way, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. The app so far has saved users, we estimate, $2.5 billion, including over $880 million in canceled subscriptions alone. 10 million people use Rocket Money and save up to $740 per year when they use all of the app's premium features. It's easy to use. It's super effective. A few clicks and you're done. You save. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions. Reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Tucker today. rocketmoney.com/Tucker. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.